What is up, Lost World crew? Good morning. We're up here in the INYO Mountain Range, and we're gonna be heading to the Salt Tram. We're gonna hike it. Been up here a couple times with Ryan, and we drove it. The road drops way down and then climbs again. So I'm gonna cut that off by walking this old trail that goes to a copper mine, and there's a structure. I believe there's still some machinery around there, so that'll be our first stop on this hike. Now the reason why I'm hiking instead of driving that way is I just want to have a wider picture, you know. Like when I'm driving by myself, I'm just focused on my old truck not braking and the road, and you know, you kind of have this tunnel vision. Still seeing stuff around, but walking is when we get to see a lot more. I don't have to worry about my truck braking. Yeah, just so you guys can see, there's the, whoa, there's the structure, and the mine should be somewhere over there. And then we'll connect back with that road and shoot over the top. And then when we're at the Salt Tram, which is way over there, we'll be following the tram all the way down. And that's the other side, the Swansea Road. But we'll just cross that and follow the tram all the way down. All right, just getting to the structure here. Let's see what's inside. And this whole trail has had this pipe going along, so bringing water in. A lot of T sections as well. I don't know if that has to do with like bleeding pressure or something, but sick. Pretty cool. Oh yeah. Bring a broom up and big old tarp. You got a nice little camp spot here with a insane view. Crazy. Okay, let's walk around the corner and see where this man is. Looks like there was another structure, so maybe that one was their home. And this is where all the machinery was. Oh. Yeah. Look at that. That's pretty cool. Pretty rad. It's just all falling apart. Yeah, we gotta carry all that stuff out here. Looks like here's the tailing pile. Okay, so this I couldn't find much on this one. Just a little description, just said copper mine / prospect with maybe some nice smithsonite in there. So we will find out. And there she is. So let's light up and run in. All right, got lights Headed into this copper mine. It's wet in here. Who was digging? Kind of animal. Alright, some ventilation on the ground. Look how dark it is. Some dark material. Take those a ways. Yeah, this is like, it's like charcoal. That's how black it is. Whoa, some calcium. What is this? Why are there holes? Is it just from dripping? Pretty cool. We're walking through an Oreo cookie. Oh. We got some stalactite because they're holding on tight to the ceiling. If they're on the bottom, they're a stalagmite because they might reach the ceiling. Alright, coming into some different type of material. It's not absorbing all the light. Crazy how dark that is. And straight into some brown stuff. I'm sure this used to be on the roof. Probably hooked up there for their ventilation. Very chalky. Is it chalk? I don't know, I haven't seen no smithsonite yet. Or anything that looks copper related. Oh, sick! Look at those ones. Wow. Remember, stalactite. They're holding on tight. Yeah, it looks like someone backfilled at some point. Section's pretty low, and the acoustics changed. No echo. Well, it's probably like 3.5 feet tall, as you can see. And hopefully we're able to stand up over here and it doesn't just go like this forever. Oh, hammies are burning. Cool, looks like we're getting off this backfilled section to be able to stand up again. Oh, thanks. Thank you. Woo! Faces right here. Huh. Well, it's fun. Let's run out and continue on our way to the salt tram. Kind of crazy. It's almost like a cave. How much water comes through. It's like a flowstone formation. Real small, but oh, there's a good one. That's pretty rad. You can see it's dripping. this whole wall. Pretty rad, if I do say myself. Wow. Epic. There's those stalactites. Or they might be soda straws. Might be a hole going through the middle and the water is just coming out the top. That's what it looks like. I don't know. No. We'll stick with stalactite. Ow. Alright, just made it out, and we're gonna continue pushing on. See what it looks like around this corner. It's a pretty cool section. You got this shark's fin up here, just cliffs out on both sides. And then you got, this was probably a built wall back in the day that's eroded. You can kind of see what is still left. It's on this shell. Pretty cool. Just stacked all the shell coming down from up there. And that water pipe continues. So you guys can see what I was talking about earlier. The pipe's been going the whole time, and it's got these T's, and then the pipe just runs out over there. Like I said, I don't really understand it. Maybe it has to do with some kind of pressure. I can release it somewhere else. They're all the way. But it looks like there was a structure here at some point. It's collapsed. All right, just getting to the the road here, and we'll follow it up, get to the ridge, and then just follow the ridge line so we're not going up and down. We start over there, right where that little knob is. And I'm thinking maybe this water pipe, maybe it went to the Cerro Gordo spring, which I believe is just up and around the corner. We'll take a look down on it. I'm not gonna hike down there on this trip. All right, so made it to the other side. Well, just the other side of the range, back side, and that down there is Saline Valley, which is part of Death Valley. And I think I'll be able to zoom in on the hot spring. But yeah, we're in the saddle, so all the wind's just rushing up. And there's the pump house right there for the Cerro Gordo spring. We won't be going there today, another day. But the hot springs, you guys see that out there. That spot right there in the middle, that's just a bunch of palm trees. There's a bunch of hot springs out there, pretty rad, pretty rad. But we're gonna get around this corner because I'm freezing. I'm gonna get out of this, but what an epic view. My playground. All right, snack break. So obviously, The old US 395 jerky. And some Powerade. And just looking at the shark's fin that we walked under. We started on the other side of that peak, a little lower, but that's what we were walking across. Pretty epic. That's what I call a shark's fin. And there she is. There is the top part of the tram. And then the cabin is right in the trees just in front of it. Can't really see it, but sick. Not a bad hike at all. Not at all. We're just walking on this razor's edge down there, Saline Valley, and that's the salt flat right there. The tram ran all the way down to right there. Crazy elevation loss or gain, depending on which way you're going. But I mean, impressive that there's a tram here. I'll go over the history of the tram when we're on it, walking around it. But what an engineering feat these guys went through. And there's the cabin right there. That's where the operator, I believe his family, lived. So cool. Here's the cabin. Glorious cabin. Alright, let me get unpacked and chill for a bit, and I'll show you guys around. Give you a little bit of the history on the Saline Valley Salt Tram. Alright, let's go take a look at the salt tram, and then I'll show you around the tender cabin. A little history on her. Obviously, this is the Saline Valley Salt Tram. It's located up here in the INYOs. It was an electric aerial tramway. It was constructed in 1911, and they finished construction in 1913. And it was all to bring the salt out of the Saline Valley. It operated sporadically from 1913 to 1935. The salt company that built it was the Trenton Iron Company, but cost got too much for them, and they had to sell it, and that's when they sold it to the Owens Valley Salt Company, who ran it from 1918 to 1920. Then the tram was taken over by Trenton Iron Company again, which sold it. My bad. That's the same thing. So after the Owens Valley Salt Company, they sold it to the Cerro Salt Company in 1928. And they started pulling out salt from Saline Valley way before this was even probably an idea. In 1864, when a farmer residing in the nearby Owens Valley gathered salt from the 12 square mile deposit, the southeast end of Saline Valley, which is down there. And they would use a wagon to get the salt out, and it was a 2-day trip to get out of there. And 4 decades later, in 1902, the Turdo Borax Company established a borax mine in the Saline Valley. Next year, White Smith, a Tennessee-born attorney, working for Kahn and Turdo as a teamster, organized the Saline Valley Salt Company. The SVSC mined valley salt on a small scale from 1903 until the company president L. Burland died in 1905. In 1908 the SVSC began studying how to move salt more economically from the valley to the Southern Pacific Railroad station near Keeler, which is where I live. The company first considered a railway, which would also carry ore from nearby copper mines. This was ruled out as a viable railway, which could also carry ore from nearby copper mines. This was ruled out as a viable option because of the ruggedness of the INYO Mountains. The SVSC next considered moving the salt as brine through a pipeline, which the company saw as a relatively inexpensive construction. The pipeline would not allow for the moving of freight into the Saline Valley. However, in 1911, decided to instead construct the aerial tram. And then, in order to determine the route and cost of the tramway, they began a survey of the region to be crossed in April 1911. The terrain was so difficult that some canyons required several days' traverses. The route was finalized in July 1911. SVSC hired the Trent Iron Company, a subsidiary of the American Steel Wire Company, to build the tramway. Work began on September 1st and was completed 3 years later. Workers labored in temperatures as high as 120 down in the valley down there and in the harsh terrain. To transport materials, a road on the western slopes was extended and a team of 8 horses was employed for pulling supplies. On the eastern slopes, where construction of a road was made impossible by the terrain, a temporary 2-cable aerial tram was constructed. Construction was expected to have been completed by May 1912 at a cost of $250,000 to $500,000. That's $8.4 million to $16.9 million as of 2024. Said work not completed until July 2nd, 1913 at a cost of $750,000, which is $23.9 million in today's time. The SVSC could not afford to contain its operation, and in 1950 leased them to the Owens Valley Salt Company, which operated the Saline Valley until it went bankrupt in 1918. So many different companies worked this, and then they all went bankrupt because this cost a lot of money to get some salt out. But I mean, what a structure, huh? And then here's the cabin where the guy that was operating over there, the tender, his family lived. Got a bunch of minor trash, cans of Spam, and I don't know, some kind of milk probably, spray paint, conductors, oil, kind of lever, books where everyone signs in. A little room with tons of nails. Old rusted nails. Come into the big room. Which is where I'll be staying. We got 2 other rooms here. Closet at some point. Look at this little doorway. Short people back then. Then there's an epic deck. An epic deck. That rock to the deck. What a place to live for some years. There's a big dry lake. There was water in it back then for a second. Crazy to look down and see ships go across back in the day. But yeah, this is going to be the place for tonight. And then tomorrow we'll push off in the morning and follow the tramway all the way down to Swansea. We're at over 8,000 feet, I think 8,300 something feet. Sorry, 8,720 feet. So we're a good ways up here. The tram, I believe, was 13.5 miles as well. And when we drop down tomorrow, we're going to be going down 5,000 feet. Who's this? This person staring at me. I don't know, some cop? Cool. Time to relax, kick it, eat, chill. See you guys in the morning. All right, good morning, guys. We are heading down, following the tramway. I have hardly any battery left because I left all my batteries in the truck. Kind of pissed, but I'm gonna just try and record the transfer stations. I only got 10% left on my GoPro and 5% left on my phone, so we'll see how much we can capture. Pretty sick. We're up on that knob, you can see the structure. There we go. That's right, go. And down we go. This is the second ore bin that we've come across hiking out. Pretty dope. The tower fell down. Long ways. Check that out. Another ore bin that got washed down this wash a little bit. The next tower's on the other side, so instead of me going up and down and then back up, I'm gonna go around and tie back in with it. And I only got 3% left, 2% now. So this might be it. Sorry guys, I wasn't able to take you the whole way down, but I hope you enjoyed it. And this winter I'll be doing the whole tram, so you'll get to see it at some point this winter when it's cooler. We'll run it from Swansea all the way to the Saline Valley and then take a soak in the hot springs out there. And hopefully Ryan will be along with us. But again, much love. If you liked and dug, like and subscribe. And until next time, love your adventure. Peace.